Steve Harvey had hosted Family Feud for more than 15 years. But nothing in all that time had prepared him for the moment when a contestant suddenly froze mid-answer. Eyes fixed not on the board but somewhere far beyond it. The Morrison family from Jacksonville had been playing well, their energy bright and easy, the kind of family that made good television. But their team captain, a 32-year-old paramedic named Tyler, kept glancing toward the studio wings with an expression Steve couldn't quite place. It wasn't nerves. It wasn't excitement. It was something deeper, something that felt like a man standing at the edge of a life he didn't know was about to change forever. During a break in the questions, Steve leaned forward, his tone half teasing, half concerned. "You doing all right, man? You keep looking over there like you're expecting someone." Tyler's wife, Sarah, squeezed his hand. Steve caught the look that passed between her and one of the producers. He'd seen everything in his years on this stage, proposals, surprises, reunions. But the air felt different today, charged with something heavier than laughter. "I'm good, Steve," Tyler said quietly, his voice steady but full of something that trembled just beneath the surface. "Just feeling something. Can't explain it." What Tyler didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that just 30 feet away, hidden behind the studio curtains, a 21-year-old nursing student named Emma was standing with her hands over her mouth, tears streaming down her face as she watched the man she had been searching for, her brother, for the first time in 21 years. The same brother she'd only learned existed 3 months earlier. The same brother who had spent half his life trying to find her. The game rolled on. The Morrisons faced off against the Chens from San Diego, laughter and cheers filling the air. Tyler stood at the center podium with Sarah beside him, a photo of their 3-year-old daughter Lily tucked into his shirt pocket for luck, a ritual he'd kept for every major moment since her birth. His cousin Marcus and his wife Denise stood behind them, along with Tyler's best friend from the fire station, James. It was all perfectly normal, until Steve asked him about his job. "Paramedic, right?" Steve said, leaning on his podium. "That's gotta be intense." Tyler's face lit up, the kind of light that comes from purpose. 15 years now, he said. "Started volunteering when I was 18. Never looked back. There's something about being there for people when they need help most." Steve smiled. "That's beautiful, man. What made you want to go into that field?" Tyler hesitated. Sarah gave him a nod, the kind that says, "It's okay, tell them." "I grew up in foster care," he said finally. "Bounced around a lot. When I was 13, I broke my leg skateboarding. The paramedics who helped me, they didn't just fix my leg. They made me laugh. Made me feel like I mattered. I decided that day I wanted to be that person for someone else." The audience applauded softly. But Steve could see there was something more in his eyes, something he wasn't saying. "Foster care must have been tough," Steve said gently. "It was," Tyler replied. "But it made me who I am, taught me to fight for people, to never give up." He hesitated again, swallowing hard. "The hardest part was knowing I had a baby sister out there somewhere. We got separated when I went into care. She was 6 months old." The studio went quiet. Even the Chens stopped whispering. "You were separated from your sister?" Steve asked softly. Tyler nodded. "My mom loved us, but she was fighting her demons. Addiction. When child services came, I was 11. They told me my baby sister Emma would be adopted quickly. Babies always are. They said it would be better for her. And I wanted to believe that. But I never stopped wondering if she was okay, if she was happy, if she knew she was loved." Sarah reached for his arm. Steve's voice was softer now. "You ever try to find her?" "Every way I could," Tyler said. "When I turned 18, I started searching. Adoption records are sealed. I didn't know her new name. I tried investigators, DNA tests, social media, nothing. It's been 21 years." Backstage, Emma's tears came harder. She pressed her hand to her chest as if trying to calm her heart. That was her brother, the one she'd dreamed about without even knowing his name, the one she'd found by accident while applying for nursing school 3 months ago. Steve turned to the camera. "That right there," he said, his voice full of emotion. "That's what family means, never giving up, never forgetting." The game resumed, but everything felt different. The Morrisons played with new energy, winning the first round easily. But behind the scenes, Steve's producer whispered something in his ear that made him step back, eyes widening. He nodded slowly, his expression changing. When they returned from commercial, Steve stood center stage, holding his cue cards but speaking from the heart. Before we keep going, I need to share something, Tyler. Your wife, Sarah, reached out to us a few weeks ago. Tyler turned to her, confused. Sarah's eyes shimmered with tears, but she smiled. 3 months ago, Steve continued, a young woman in Atlanta was filling out her nursing school forms. She found her original birth certificate, and her name was Emma Grace Morrison. Tyler froze. His knees buckled. That's her, he whispered. That's my sister, Steve nodded. She took a DNA test. And 3 months ago she got a match, a brother. A brother who's been looking for her for 21 years. The studio went silent again. Steve's voice softened. Tyler, your sister's here today. She wanted to meet you somewhere you'd never forget. Emma, come on out. When Emma stepped onto the stage, the world seemed to hold its breath. She wore nursing scrubs, her brown eyes shining with tears, her hands trembling as she looked at her brother for the first time. They had the same eyes, the same smile. Tyler didn't walk to her, he ran. They met in the center of the stage and fell into each other's arms. He held her like he'd never let go again. Emma, he said, the name breaking into pieces in his throat. Is it really you? Hi, Tyler, she whispered, crying. I'm sorry it took me so long. No, he said, holding her face in his hands. You're here. That's all that matters. The audience was crying. Steve was crying. Even the camera operators had their hands shaking. Tyler and Emma sat on the steps, still holding hands as they began to talk. Emma told him about her adoptive parents, David and Marie Phillips, the most loving people she could have hoped for. They told me about you, she said. Not your name, but they said I had a brother who loved me. I always felt that. Tyler smiled through tears. They sound like amazing people. They are, she said. They're here too. When David and Marie walked out, Tyler stood. He didn't know what to say, so he just said what his heart knew. Thank you, he whispered. For loving her. For raising her. For giving her everything I couldn't. Marie hugged him, tears running freely. Sweetheart, she said. Thank you for loving her so much that she could feel it even when she didn't know why. What followed was a flood of moments that no script could have planned. Emma calling her niece Lily on video. The 3-year-old waving at the camera saying, You look like Daddy, and declaring she was happy, crying. The audience melted. Then came the coincidences. Emma pulled out a small St. Christopher pendant identical to the one Tyler wore. My mom gave me this when I started nursing school, she said. Tyler touched his own. My foster mom gave me mine when I aged out. Said it would keep me safe. They both laughed through tears. Same saint, same reason, he said. We were always connected. And then the moment that locked every heart in that studio, Emma said quietly, I've always been scared of thunderstorms. My mom says it makes no sense, but every time it rains I hum, You are my sunshine. Always have. Tyler's breath caught. The night before they took us, there was a thunderstorm, he said, voice trembling. You were crying. I held you all night singing that song. You are my sunshine. Emma gasped, covering her mouth as fresh tears spilled. That's why it always felt safe, the audience sobbed. Steve turned to the camera, barely holding it together. That right there is love that doesn't fade. Love that survives time, distance, and everything life throws at you. The show wrapped, but no one cared about points or prizes anymore. Tyler and Emma had already won. Steve asked what they would tell others still searching for lost family. Tyler said, Don't give up. Keep looking, but build your life while you wait. Love doesn't divide, it multiplies. Emma added softly. And for anyone who's adopted, your family is real. Love is love wherever it comes from. As the audience rose in a standing ovation, Tyler pulled his sister close, Sarah joined, and soon everyone, both families, was hugging, crying, laughing. Steve looked at the camera and said, Ladies and gentlemen, the Morrisons. A family made whole again. When the cameras stopped, no one wanted to leave. Emma and Tyler sat together, trading photos, stories, fragments of years lost. You know what's funny? She said. When people used to ask if I had siblings, I'd always pause before saying no, like some part of me knew. Tyler smiled. And I always said I had a sister named Emma. They told me to move on, but I couldn't. I made a promise. And you kept it, she said. We both did. They walked out of the studio hand in hand into the California sunshine, their families beside them. In that moment, time itself seemed to take a breath. 21 years apart, and finally they were home.